are few things more iconic in the Star Wars universe than weapons, and whether you're working on a blaster from a galaxy far, far away, or just need a realistic prop weapon for a costume, you'll want to check out this tutorial. I'm going to break down my approach for making a toy look like a real movie prop.
Off screen, I took some 220 grit sandpaper to the entire surface to give the paint something to bite into. This will help with the longevity of your paint job. I also smoothed out any seam lines on the blaster and wiped it down with a lint-free cloth. Now we can prime the surface. I'm using a filler primer to help blend the seams a bit more. Plus I won't be sanding this coat because I want to keep some of that texture for the final piece to help the weathering stand out. After letting the primer dry for a few hours, it's time to lay down a base coat of matte black spray paint. I'm using matte black because it's what I had on hand, but you could also use a satin finish black paint as well. Once the paint had dried, I sprayed some clear coat to protect the base layer and to make the paint a bit more durable. To achieve the look of weathered gunmetal, I'm going to use graphite powder. I was first introduced to this technique by Eric at CoreGeek and Bill at Punish Props. They both have great videos on the process that I've linked down in the description. My application is going to be a bit different from theirs, so I'm going to brush on the graphite powder and only buff it along the edges to keep the shine to a minimum. Once I'm happy with the overall coverage, I'll dust off the excess and seal it in with a clear coat and let it completely dry. The Mandalorian's blaster has wooden grips, but they're molded into this toy, so with my masking done, I'll spray a base wood tone with Rust-Oleum Satin Warm Caramel. Once it's dry, I'll apply Minwax Dark Walnut semi-transparent oil-based wood stain with a chip brush to create the look of wood grain. I'll start with a small amount of stain, offloading any excess as needed, and will drag the brush in one direction to replicate the look of wood fiber. I'll add more stain as necessary, but with something like a blaster handle or a knife handle, it will take very little stain to get the right amount of coverage. Work the stain until you're happy with the grain look, and repeat on the opposite side before giving it plenty of time to dry, and then apply a clear coat to seal it in. Now that the grips are dry, I can address any areas where there was overspray with some additional graphite powder. Then I'll enhance the blaster barrel using a bit of All-Clad 2 aluminum lacquer paint before brightening up some of the edges and details with a bit of pewter rub and buff. When I'm happy with the silver, I'm going to switch over to a brassy gold-colored rub and buff for the accents. A quick pass with my clear coat to seal in the brass paint and some dry time, and we can bring it all together with a bit of grunge and rust. For the grunge, I'll be using a dark brown wax paint, which gets brushed on and wiped off with a rag. When I'm happy with the wax paint weathering, I'll follow it up with somewhat of an unconventional material, ground cinnamon and turmeric. I'll lightly brush each of the spices into some select areas of the blaster body to create the look of rust, which will then be sealed in place with a final layer of clear coat.
Han Solo said it best, there's no match for a good blaster at your side, especially when you've successfully converted a piece of plastic into a movie-quality prop. That'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go make something.